Good afternoon, everybody. Now, education and technology have both been hot topics recently in both the news and the wider career sphere. And so the question that we are posing today is, how can we as careers professionals or educators leverage technology to help young people better understand the world around them? And this is the question that our guest today, who we'll introduce shortly, is going to be helping us to tackle. So welcome to the We Are Careers show. If you've not joined us before, this is your fortnightly 30-minute CPD snippet that is hopefully there to answer some of the big questions affecting careers professionals all across the career sphere and start conversations that are hopefully going to benefit all of us within the career sector, whatever setting we may be working in. So my name is Chris Webb. If you've not met me before, I'm a higher education careers professional, member of the Career Development Institute, and I am, of course, joined, as always, by my fantastic co-host, Sabiha. So, Sabiha, are you having a nice Wednesday as we approach the Christmas season?
I'm feeling very Christmassy at the moment. I don't know if it's, I know sort of Christmas is round the corner, so as I was saying to you earlier, so definitely kind of winter is here. So definitely this is a good time. So thank you everybody, our viewers, for joining us today. Now, each show, we bring you the latest updates in the sector to keep you well informed. Plus, we bring you inspirational guests based on the topics that matter to you. And today, as Chris mentioned, we're going to be delving in what role technology has to play in the work of career development and guidance. And the aim is simple. It's to help you connect and build a stronger community of career professionals so that we can serve our clients in the best possible way. As Chris said, I'm known as Meet Sabiha, and I work internationally, helping young professionals get unstuck and get back into career flow without the stress. And I'm also the creator of the I Am Thriving Career Coaching Program, where I work with international career coaches to help them even create more impact and more transformation without, who are time poor and can use tools and technologies to help them enhance. Now, we always encourage you, yes, you, the viewer that's watching right now, or perhaps you're watching on the replay, whichever you're watching, on whatever platform that you're watching, we need your help. We want to get and spread this word to even bigger audience. And so one of the ways that you can help us do that is by hitting that subscribe and bell button so that you get regular notifications. But also as well, we want you to join into the conversation as well. So pop on into the chat, whatever platform that you're watching on, let us know what part of the world, what part of the UK you're watching from, and what is it about today's theme that we're going to be exploring with our guest Justin around technology and how we can use technology to engage. And can technology enhance? And is there maybe a darker side? If so, join in the conversation. Let us know in the chat. How are you using technology to either enhance or, the experience that you create for your clients? Now, each show we like to celebrate via our careers cheers, but also as well, you've probably been hearing from Chris and I recently talking about the campaign that the CDI has launched, which is known as the Careers Impact. Now, in the CDI news, make sure you stay tuned till the end of the show, because I'm going to be going into more detail about how you can get involved and how you can start celebrating on the work that you are doing, but the transformation that you are creating for the clients that you are serving. And so I want to give a little bit of a teaser. And I want to share a careers impact story that caught my eye on social media, which was by the wonderful Liz McGuire. And she shared a story recently, and I've included the link so you can go and check it out for yourself to see exactly what I'm talking about here, where she had an interaction recently with a student who had said that they had no work experience, but it turned out through the coaching session, the guidance session, that this particular student, even though they didn't believe that they had done any kind of work experience, was running a TikTok channel and had over 20,000, yes, you heard correctly, 20,000 followers. And so off the back of that was generating income. And so Liz was able to tease out this information and then transform this into helping the client visualize and see actually that was work experience. And so how it's worth celebrating with our clients: volunteering, side hustles, proof projects, caring for siblings or grandparents, reselling trainers, whatever that looks like, using social media to connect and grow. What does that look like, and how are we engaging with that? So stay tuned till the end. Now, I know, Chris, you've got some careers cheers stories that you want to be celebrating this week. So what are we celebrating in the careers cheers today, Chris?
Yeah, I've got a couple. Thanks, Sabiha. And yeah, just for everybody watching, if you can't find the link, it's probably a bit too long for us to put on our banners. But if you search for Liz McGuire and LinkedIn, you'll find the post that she's kind of put out. She's a great person to kind of follow anyway. A couple of other really quick careers cheers before we sort of move on with the show. So one of these is a shout out to the 7 young people who supported the latest Education Select Committee hearing into CEIAG. I'm going to talk a bit more about that at the bottom of the show. So those were Harley, Holly, Madeline, James, Haley, Holly, and Mariam. They really acquitted themselves incredibly well, and added, I would say, kind of more nuance than some of the MPs that were commenting. So, fantastic advocates for the schools and careers professionals they've worked with, and we'll talk a little bit more about that at the bottom of the show. And then our final careers cheers is just a really brief shout out to say, well done, really, to everyone who's put themselves forward for CDI board elections that are coming up at the moment. So for the CDI president-elect role and all of the other roles that kind of featured in the elections. And to all the members who've already voted or are planning to vote, I have put my vote in, I can say, so I'm not going to be a hypocrite. The deadline is 9 a.m. on Monday, the 5th of December. So do keep a lookout for that. And do make sure you vote. It's your professional body. It's really important that you have a say. So those are our careers cheers for the week.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Chris. And already, thank you, viewers. I'm loving it. Just the questions are firing in quick and fast. So we are going to have a really fun packed show. So without further ado, I want to hand over. I want to bring Justin in and let's get started with delving into the topic that we're going to be talking about. So Justin Edwards, you work at Microsoft, and I know that you do a number of things at Microsoft. For those of you that don't know you, maybe hearing your voice for the first time, can you share with us a little bit about the role and the work that you are currently doing with Microsoft?
Absolutely, and hello to everybody from wherever you're calling. I see lots of people from the UK joining in that chat room, so great to meet up with you. I'm actually based just outside Belfast, so I'm still in all your time zones, even though I work for Microsoft out of Seattle. So I'm talking to you from just outside Belfast today, and thanks for having me on the show. So my role, I'm Director of Learning Experiences. I work in Mojang. I work actually with Minecraft. So if you haven't come across Minecraft before, it's the world's most successful game. It's almost 15 years old. It's played in 120 countries, about 100 million players every month, translated in 29 languages. And has 1 trillion views on YouTube. It's the most watched thing on YouTube. So it has this kind of huge reach. And my job is to really take the power of games for learning experiences. So how can we use games in a safe way, in a productive way that actually teaches learners about the world around them, about science, about mathematics? How do we get them to learn about careers development? How do we get them to reflect on their role in the world or their community, or how they connect communities together? So I have this wonderful job of creating every day and working with the most amazing partners around the world to create content that uses games in this purposeful way. It's still fun, it's still immersive, it's still engaging. The young people still find it is the game that they love, but actually the messages underneath have these strong appeal that us as career development people or teachers or educators around the world are trying to get the messages across, these learning outcomes across. So I have to bury that within inside the game and achieve that. And I have a long history in education. I was actually formerly head of one of the examination bodies and curriculum bodies in the UK. I've worked in technical education, in higher education, in school education throughout the UK. So I understand it from the educator's perspective, but I have this wonderful opportunity to use a huge tool with a huge reach to do good with inside our education system.
That's fantastic, Justin. You've taken me back to an assembly that we did when I was a schools-based careers leader a few years ago, where we had a Minecraft artist who was delivering this assembly to Year 8 students. And when he said, I get to basically work with Minecraft for a living, they all stood up and applauded. It sounds like one of those fake stories, but I think that shows you, as you said, the reach of Minecraft, how much, how aware people are and how much people love it. So, I mean, for those of our viewers who, they might be a bit familiar with Minecraft and the concept of it, but I guess maybe not so much with how it's being used, as you said, in an educational setting and some of those projects you mentioned. Can you tell us a little bit more maybe about some of those specific projects that have kind of taken a look at using Minecraft for education, career development, and I guess sort of helping young people to understand the world around them a little bit better?
Yeah, so just to explain, if people haven't come across the game, the game is called a sandbox game. So it's made of little blocks, which are kind of to scale about 1 meter by 1 meter square. And you can break blocks, so you can destroy them, and you can place blocks. And that sounds really simple, but actually it creates a huge, powerful, creative opportunity. You can build and imagine anything you want in those spaces. But you can also create simulations in those spaces. So we can make things happen within inside the game, and the player then experiences those and has to overcome problems or challenges. They can do that as an individual, or they can do that as a group. And so we're able to build out gaming experiences that simulate certain environments. So one of the projects in the UK that I was able to work on recently was with the Environment Agency. And the Environment Agency is building out a massive flood defense system in Preston. Anybody, I think there's some people who live in that part of the world.
I used to live there. It's my hometown. So when I heard about this, I was like, oh my God, how amazing is this? But Justin's right. Who else is from the Northwest or has some connection to Preston?
Well, you were connected to the scheme then entirely. And I mean, the Environment Agency is spending all this money and connecting it, and they wanted really young people to understand what was happening around them. All these diggers and lorries and buildings happening, what is happening around them? And so what they did was approach us to see if we could use the game in some way to connect young people. And when we were developing it, it was also about connecting young people to the community around them, so the geography and the place of Preston, because this flood defense scheme was going to affect the whole of Preston. It was going to build out, and it was going to save communities from some pretty serious flooding over the years. And so what we built in the Minecraft game was the Preston Basin. And then actually you can build the river defenses, so you can actually participate in understanding how they're constructed and how you're protecting the communities and what those communities are. And you can press a little button and it floods Preston. Now, this kind of idea of flooding Preston, there was discussion when we were building it. Are people just going to be, see their houses flooded? But it's a game. It's designed to create thought and understand the impact of flooding, and then why we're protecting it and why we're building it. And taking that into the classroom then leverages an interest in the flood scheme. And you can create these in-game, out-of-game experiences. You can experience it in the game. You could physically go outside your classroom and then see the basin being worked on and the Environment Agency work taking place. And you could have a conversation intergenerational with your parents about understanding what was going on in that space. And it's been hugely popular, so much so that we've actually had other countries approach us about building similar projects that connect people to civil engineering or the careers. So one of the things in the game is that you actually meet people as you go along, and they explain their job role and what they're doing. And so this then connects people to, okay, so this scheme here that has a civil engineer. What does a civil engineer do? What's their function? What's their purpose? Can I do that role? And we're able to then represent the people. And in fact, the people in the game are people from the Environment Agency. So they're actual people's stories about, the career paths that they took and the training that they undertook and how they get great reward from their job and start to build understanding of roles and responsibilities in our society.
And immortalized in Minecraft, which is great. They must be really chuffed with that. I mean, the career-related kind of element you've just talked about there comes perfect timing, really, because actually one of our viewers, Luke Reese, has beaten us to the punch a little bit by mentioning in her comment about the successful use of Minecraft from Careers Wales, which is something we were going to talk about. I suppose this leads on quite nicely to, I guess, kind of find out a bit more about the Career Craft project and taking that idea of career development further into Minecraft. What did that look like, and how has that kind of been used?
Yeah, so Wales is actually one of the world's great users of Minecraft for educational purposes. It's a beacon of actually using game-based learning, and it's used right the way across the curriculum. And what's happened in Wales is that the government has invested in developing products and materials within inside the platform, within inside the game. We've been helping them do that, and then training for teachers and educators and careers officers and people in Wales in order to use that material. And Careers Craft was one of those projects where actually the Welsh Government careers team wanted to build out something that explained how to understand roles, how to understand jobs, how to build CVs, how to build kind of identity for interview and how employers think, etc. And they had a wonderful idea that you should go on a journey, a career development journey through Wales. So you actually get in, there's a little thing in Minecraft called a minecart, which is like a little train, and it takes you through all the snapshots of the beautiful venues of Wales. And while you're going there, you're then meeting people on the way. And those people are explaining maybe their position in terms of careers and how they developed it, and they're giving you advice. And then you have activities to complete as well. So those activities are about representing yourself, maybe starting to build a portfolio or build a CV or identifying the skills that you have so that you can communicate to those employers. And by the end of the product, then you have a better understanding of self and a better understanding of career opportunities and a better understanding of how to connect yourself to the workforce. And it's a hugely successful project. It's had hundreds of thousands of downloads. It's not just played in Wales, even though it's got all the kind of Welsh settings. We've seen it played in the US, in Canada, as far as Victoria State in Australia have actually looked and replicated it. So when we build something like this, it does have appeal more than just in Wales itself. And being Welsh born myself, I of course think it's brilliant.
I did pick that up. Yeah.
I was just about to say as well, well done to our fellow career professionals, either who are born and raised in Wales or are working with the Welsh community, for sort of kind of championing this. And, you know, Justin, you talked about so many points there that you were sharing with us just now about how we can embrace technology and how we can use technology to sort of kind of help us enhance the work that we do, and how the different ways, you know, in the imaginative ways, gamification, and using sort of almost technology to tell our stories in a more powerful, more impactful way. I just want to bring in, you know, some comments now, because the comment sort of kind of section has just been kind of firing up and we're getting some questions in as well. Let's kind of bring our viewers in now. I've got somebody here, Facebook user, saying hello, currently in East London. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Great to have you. I like to think I'm tech savvy and one step ahead. Don't we all sometimes feel that way? But I'm starting to feel a bit overwhelmed by how many different platforms and options there are to recommend to clients. And I feel you. I know I've been in that space, and I know many of us have been as well. And perhaps maybe later on, if we get time, I'll say to Justin, like, how does he work with this and what kind of any tips or advice that he has. We've got Natasha Williams saying hello from North London today. Welcome, Natasha. And then we've got Vicky Victoria, a former co-host that was doing the show with us. And she's gone on to say that, you know, safeguarding, particularly when you're working with younger client groups, concerns when it comes to utilizing technology in her work. And I know, Justin, you kind of touched a little bit about this. So I don't know if you want to kind of come in and pick up on this about, you know, what kind of content and how you can safeguard, particularly when you're working with either vulnerable adults or younger client groups. Any advice, any tips about that, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, we would refer to that as, from our perspective, as player safety. So how people come into the game and how safe they feel in the game and how they are protected as individuals or protected as groups. One of the things that we do with specifically the education version of Minecraft, and it applies in different apps, is that we ring fence, if you like, to a school or what we refer to as a tenant. So if you enter the Minecraft game, you will only enter inside your school environment. There isn't a kind of outside world that can access it. And so that feature and ring fence and protecting that environment is really important. If you collaborate and you have multiple players building, we don't put that on servers that are open to the public. That is within inside your school, and it's owned, if you like, by the teacher. So safety, absolutely critical and absolutely first. So the content discussion as well. So when we're then introducing content in the game, we don't allow, obviously, guns, flags, politics within inside our game. We have very, very strict rules around that. But we are telling narratives and stories that are challenging. They would be challenging to teach for teachers in a normal context. So, for example, I did some work with the Nobel Peace Prize and the Nobel Peace Center recently, where we told the story of Jody Williams. And Jodie Williams is an American Nobel laureate who actually got landmines banned in pretty much most of the world. She's done amazing work in the 1980s to achieve that. And she helped us directly build a game which tells her story. But her story obviously is about landmines and the damage that that causes to society. And so what we did with Inside the Game is we actually allow you to interface with people in a village in Cambodia, which is deeply affected by landmines. And you can talk to people who have had their lives disrupted. And we're very careful with the narrative, so that what we're doing is we're introducing the concept that there are these dangerous items, that they cause harm and injury and disruption to communities. But we also then provide support materials outside the game so that the teacher can feel empowered with the knowledge, and the Nobel Peace Center helped us do that, so you can continue the conversation afterwards. And to come back to the point about, overwhelmed by all these platforms, I think that one of the things you have to focus on is, what do I want to achieve as an educator? What do I want to achieve as a career development professional? Be very focused on that, and only look then for platforms that achieve that objective. Don't try and map the objective back to the platform, which then can sometimes become overwhelming when you're trying to choose the technology. Stay core to the principles. And so if you are trying to explain about peace or war and these difficult topics, then making sure that the platform has support material that continues the conversation, not just with the tool, but outside the tool, is critically important. It's critically important that we do that as well.
And I think for Vic, just very quickly, who's watching, I think we probably need an episode, don't we, on social media itself, as because there's so much to unpick there. But we'll go back to the comments a bit. Anything else we've got?
They're coming in thick and fast. I don't think I'm going to apologise straight up now. I don't think I'm going to get time today to go through all of them, but I do want to thank you all, viewers. This is exactly the interaction that we're looking for. And Justin, you've got everybody like kind of hyped up right now, because they are just kind of coming through. So we'll get through to as many as we can. One thing that I did sort of kind of want to pick up on, and it's not in the comments right now, but I know after the show I will get like basically hammered about this if people say, oh, but you didn't ask Justin this, which is obviously we're talking about Careers Wales and that amazing platform that's been built, and obviously it's being used by educators. Can it be used by people who are not in the educational setting? So you know how you were talking about how you can craft your career journey. Can it be used by someone perhaps maybe who's working in the community with perhaps say vulnerable adults or marginalized communities, or maybe women coming back into the workforce and who've been out of the workspace and are now trying to sort of kind of figure out what does life look like after starting a family, or maybe older workers and sort of kind of other groups, Justin. So I just want to kind of put that question there, and I'll head back into the comments and pick out a few there as well.
Yeah, so the simple answer is yes, but there's a lot in that. When we developed the game and the platform, and it's 5 years old, the education version at the moment, it's 5 years old. When we developed that, we originally developed it for schools, colleges, and universities. But what we found was a lot of people wanted to use it for homeschooling. So there's a growing number of homeschoolers out there. Yeah. And so we created a thing called camps and clubs, which was a license scheme where an individual could buy the license as well, or a community group could buy a license in order to access. So all you have to do is have the Minecraft license in those environments. All the content is free. We never charge for anything we do with our partners, be that UNESCO or Nobel, or we've just done work with the BBC as well. We don't charge for any of that. We put it on the platform for free, and it will always be free. You can access it that way. And you can use this technology with any age of student. The average age player of a Minecraft average age is 24. So we aren't talking about young children just using this technology now. We're talking about the generation of adults who are coming through the workforce and developing. And we're starting to see businesses and employers start to use game-based learning to make assessments or to actually do training. So inside Microsoft itself, we teach how to do hybrid meetings using Minecraft. So you actually learn about the etiquette and the protocols and how you engage with clients and how you engage with each other inside the business using Minecraft. Because we're able to simulate things, we make it enjoyable, we make it gamified, we make it game-based learning, but at the same time, it makes it interesting. And it's fascinating to watch adults come to the technology and the kind of smile and joy that they get out of okay, I've never been here before, I've never played this game before, but I'm going to give it a go. And of course, they take it home and talk to their children about how they're an amazing Minecraft player now as well.
I love that. I love that. Now we're like competing. Now the parents are competing. Saying, yeah, I'm hip. I'm up to date. I know what's going on out there. We've got Alistair here from Stirling saying hello. He's watching from in Bromley in London. Welcome, Alistair. Scott C mentioned, Minecraft, Roblox, and VR delivery are still at their infancy in terms of how we can use games to deliver career education. But really exciting to see how this approach evolves. We've got here Alistair talking about, I came across a lot of students who use it a lot and they take part in esports. Again, different areas, different aspects. It really helps us to kind of open up our imagination. Timothy Wilson saying here that, he is watching live today from the British Embassy School in Ankara. Hello from Turkey. Hello, Timothy. So we've got some international viewers joining us today. And then we've got a few more comments here as well. Sorry, I'm not going to be able to get through to all of them because, as always, we're running out of time in the show as well. So before we do sort of kind of wrap up today's show, I know we had more questions, and if you have now, we've got your, we've whet your appetite. You're now interested. You're keen. You're thinking about. We've got the, sort of kind of juices flowing in, and you're thinking about, oh, how could I work with my client group and introduce, whether it's Minecraft or any other sort of kind of platform that perhaps maybe you've been thinking about using, game-based learning. Where can interested viewers go, Justin, to find out more about game-based learning and how to utilize this as part of their work with the client groups that they are working for? Because clearly you've stated this is not just for young people. This can be any client group that, our career professionals, career guidance coaches, practitioners are working with. So yeah, where can interested viewers go to find out more, Justin?
So you can, if you want to take an interest in Minecraft and the education work that's going on in Minecraft, go to education.minecraft.net. That's our website. It has all our project work on there and what we're currently undertaking. You can undertake this free training and free training material. There's actually events that we run that are free. And we don't just run those ourselves. We actually run those with teachers, educators, adults from around the world who then share their experience and how they're using it. We use that across languages as well. So even if you are coming in, and Turkey's really popular user of Minecraft, actually, even if you are coming in from other countries, you'll find events that meet you there. You can also become a mentor. So to the point earlier, that the use of games inside education is a newly developed model. In the history of education, it's right at the tip of Minecraft being only 5 years old. But what we have is a growing community of mentors around the world who are people who are trying to use purposeful gaming to engage young people, to engage adults in topics and conversations that help them develop. So again, check out our website. You can become a mentor there. And there's also a growing kind of community base on platforms like Facebook or Discord or wherever you find yourself, LinkedIn as well, which is discussing game-based learning and how we can use games to tackle all sorts of challenges, educational challenges and issues and outcomes. And just search for those. You'll find a lot more information. And yep, absolutely on the screen, that's my LinkedIn account. Feel free to follow me, connect with me. You can see the projects that me and my team are doing. And also we link out on a regular basis to projects that are going on around the world.
Justin, amazing. And very, very quickly, because I know we are always running out of time here, but a couple of questions that have come in that I think we probably do deserve a bit of airtime before we finish, if we can take a couple of extra minutes of your time. One was just kind of coming back to Scott C's point, because we have been giving Wales a lot of love. Yeah. And I mean, particularly after last night, you probably need it. So I don't want to go into too much detail about that. But mentioned they don't want to be outdone in Scotland, and they've also been using Minecraft and programs like Microsoft Make Code to help people think about various industries, particularly STEM. So shout out to Scotland as well. We don't want to leave you out there. But just a final question that's come in from Alistair, which Justin, hopefully you might be able to answer before we finish, which is just the cost of these programs. If we think about something like, say, Careers Craft or some of the ones you mentioned that have been utilised or built in other countries, is there sort of a rough kind of estimate cost you could share, or kind of a ballpark for people that might be looking to do something similar themselves?
So it ranges from free right the way up. So it's possible to, the platform itself allows you to build materials as an individual directly. And on the website, there's actually 500 different worlds that people who are teachers or educators have built themselves and are sharing around the world out there, and they're all free. And so it's kind of like a community contribution back to the learning opportunities. So that's the free point. You then, if you want to achieve kind of bigger learning objectives, and you're a government agency work and you're trying to understand how you can connect young people to the themes that you're developing, it can range from $5,000 right the way up to like the hugest projects will be kind of six figures. But they tend to be kind of global, multinational, involve somebody like UNESCO or what have you, where we're discussing and engaging people in World Heritage, and we're building out all the World Heritage sites. So again, it's it's a spectrum of what you want to achieve, from absolutely costing you nothing to costing you quite a bit of money.
That's fair enough. I mean, I think hopefully that sort of answers the question. Alistair, let us know if not. Do kind of drop us a comment over. But no, Justin, really appreciate all of your insights so far. And again, as we've kind of mentioned sort of throughout the show, if you want to connect with Justin, find out a little bit more about the work that he's doing and the work that his team are working on, you can connect with him on LinkedIn. So please do that following the show if it's been of interest. But as always, we are running over time. It is a common thing with our careers. So we're going to pass straight on to the news section of the show to round things off. And Sabiha, over to you to find out a little bit more about the CDI news for this week. What's been going on?
Oh, thank you, Justin, for being a fabulous guest today. You've really sort of kind of got people buzzing and thinking about tech and technology. And I definitely think I can see ourselves another show further down in the near future. So CDI News, the three sort of kind of top stories I wanted to kickstart off with. Register for your free place for the CDI AGM. That is fast approaching now. That's going to be taking place on Thursday, the 8th of December. Now it's online. So the great part is you don't need to travel anywhere, and it starts at 3:30 till 5 p.m. So make sure that you've booked yourself on and got that Zoom link. Story number 2 is opportunity to join the Professional Standards Committee. Now there's more information about the website, but what I will share is this: the role of the Professional Standards Committee, also known as the PSC, members, is their central role to oversee the sector-wide professional standards. So if this is something that is piquing your interest, head on over to the website to learn more information. Now, the CDR is seeking nominations for the following constituency vacancies. So there's Northern Ireland, there's one vacancy, there's Scotland, one vacancy, career guidance / career coaching in the public sector, there is one vacancy, career guidance and career coaching in the voluntary sector, there are 2 vacancies, and then professional development, there is 1 vacancy. Now, just quickly, I'm just going to let you know the timetable and the process for elections. Nominations close at 9 a.m. on Monday, the 12th of December. So you've got a couple of weeks, and then the results will be announced in the new year on Tuesday, the 3rd of January, 2023. And then my final story, I gave you a little bit of tease right at the beginning of the show where I was talking about the careers impact. Now, in a recent sort of careers chief executive update from our chief executive, David Morgan, he has asked members to share, positive stories using the hashtag careers impact on social media, or by adding your voice to the campaign, because every one of us can play a part in raising the profile of this amazing profession. Now, I will highlight as well is if you've been watching the show today, or maybe you've caught a couple of previous shows, you can head over to YouTube. You can see the full list of all the shows that Chris and I and our other guests and hosts have done over the last few years. So you can download and watch at your own pace. And if you are wondering, okay, this CDI thing that these guys keep talking about, how do I become involved? Head on over to the CDI website. There's information, and for less than sort of a Starbucks Frappuccino, you can gain membership and get a whole host of value and benefit and support. And so with regards to the hashtag careers impact, there was a really fabulous example that Leanne Hamley created on the LinkedIn website. So head on over to Leanne's profile on LinkedIn, and you'll get to see where she talks about demonstrating impact through storytelling. And it's something that you've heard our guest today, Justin, talk about in huge detail as well, of how we can create powerful impact. Let's do this. And here's how you do it. You can find an extract from the latest life-changing story that you've created, and a great example of the power of career guidance. Allows us to show the value of the work and the transformation that we are able to create as career professionals, but also as well highlight and celebrate the clients that we are working with, and the impact, the positive impact that we are creating. So remember, use that hashtag careers impact in the stories and the posts on whatever platform that you're posting on. So that's my stories for the CDI news update. Chris, what have you got for us today?
Yes, thanks, Sabiha. Yeah, so yeah, just three very, very brief stories to kind of go through before we round things off in our penultimate episode of this season. So the first one is around the Education Select Committee hearing that I was talking about a little bit earlier on. So yesterday was the fourth hearing as part of the Education Select Committee's kind of, I guess, inquiry into careers, education, information, advice and guidance. It had insights from 7 young people, who I mentioned earlier, and you can watch the recording back of the whole session via Parliament TV. What I will say is the questioning may possibly irk some careers professionals. So do go and watch it, share with us online, let us know what you think about it, because I think the questioning involved, for me, wasn't necessarily the best, but the contributions of the young people was absolutely fantastic. So again, absolutely nothing to knock there. Second kind of story is around National Apprenticeship Week 2023. This is coming up 6th to the 12th of February. You might be thinking, why on earth am I talking about this now? The great news is it's already being promoted. If you sign up for the newsletter for updates and resources, we're hearing that careers professionals are already receiving the resources for National Apprenticeship Week well in advance so that they can set up the events that they might be running in their settings. That's really, really heartening to hear. And then the final one is kind of related. Our final news story this week, somewhat related, and that's that the theme for National Careers Week 2023, which is the 6th to the 11th of March, has now been announced. It is the hashtag Together, which is very appropriate based on what we try to do with the show and everything we've been talking about. So do keep an eye on the @CareersWeek account on Twitter for updates and announcements. The NCW team always do some really interesting stuff around National Careers Week. So I know we'll all be looking forward to it. It's a big day in the calendar, or big week in the calendar for all of us. So those are the news stories for this week. We are going to be back in 2 weeks' time on Wednesday, the 14th of December at 12 o'clock for our final episode of Series 7, which is going to be What is a Careers Professional? Very big question, with Siobhan Neary, head of ISEGS, the International Centre for Guidance Studies. So don't miss it. Come and join us for what will sure to be a very festive ending to our series of We Are Careers as we move into 2023. So all that's remained to be said really is thank you very much for everyone who's joined us today. Thank you so much to Justin for being a fantastic guest. Thank you to everybody who's commented and watching at home, whether that's live or on record. And Sabiha, thanks as always for being a wonderful co-host. I will leave you with the last word.
Oh, well, thank you guys. And keep, as I said, we're kind of promoting the hashtag careers impact. So give a little bit of thought. Think about what is it that you are doing right now? How are you serving your clients? And then how can you use that hashtag? There you go. Thank you, Chris. Careers impact. Include that in any sort of kind of work, any promotion that you are doing using social media. So we'll see you next time for our final festive season show for 2022. Bye.
Take care. See you soon.